Welcome, students. I hope all of you are in good health. Let me start with another chapter of science, that is fiber to fabric. Now, in this chapter, we will study about what are fabrics, fibers and their types, fibers which we get from plants, how to make fabric from fiber, fibers which we get from animals, and the history of clothing material. Now look around you and you will notice that your clothes, bed sheets, towels, curtains, tablecloth, your shopping bags, and even your school bags, all these items are made up of different clothing materials. And you will be able to notice the difference by feeling and touching them. Actually, all these are made up of different types of fabrics. So, the question arises, what are fabrics? See, whenever you visited a garment shop, you must have noticed bundles of clothes lying there. These bundles of clothes are called fabrics. These fabrics are stitched to get different items like clothes, curtains, bed sheets, bags, etc. Now, when we look at any fabric, it seems a continuous piece, isn't it? But actually, it is not. If you will observe closely, you will notice that fabric is made up of two sets of strands, and these strands arranged together in horizontal and vertical fashion. And these strands are called yarns. So we can say that fabrics are made up of yarns arranged together. And these yarns are made up of fibers. So finally, we can say that fibers are twisted together to make yarns, and yarns are arranged together to make fabrics. So, as I told you, fabrics are made from certain types of fibers. So, what are fibers? Fibers are long, strong, and flexible thread like materials. There are three types of fibers: natural fibers, synthetic fibers, and mixed fibers. Let us study natural fibers first. Natural fibers are the fibers that are obtained from plants and animals. For example, cotton, jute, coir, hemp, and flax. They obtain from plants, whereas wool and silk we get from animals. Now there are several advantages of natural fabrics. What are these? Like they absorb more water and sweat, they allow air to pass through them, and they are biodegradable, means they do not affect the environment. But at the same time, there are some disadvantages also, like they do not retain their creases for long, they may shrink on ordinary washing, they do not dry rapidly, they can easily be attacked by moths and molds, and natural silk is very expensive and not quite affordable. Now, next is synthetic fibers. The fibers that are made by humans from different chemicals in the industries are called human made or synthetic fibers, like nylon, terylene, polyester, and acrylic. The synthetic fibers are mostly obtained from petroleum, and the fabrics made up of synthetic fiber are called synthetic fabrics. Now, like natural fabrics, synthetic fabrics also have some advantages and disadvantages. Let us see the advantages first. So, in compared to natural fabrics, synthetic fabrics are more durable and easy to maintain. They do not absorb much water, they dry up fast, and they are wrinkle free. Even they are not attacked by moths and molds. But at the same time, the disadvantages of synthetic fabrics are they do not absorb sweat. They do not allow air to pass through them like natural fibers. They easily catch fire and they are non biodegradable. Now, the last is mixed fibers. The fibers made by blending natural fibers with synthetic fibers to obtain superior and useful fibers. They are called the mixed fibers, like terracotta, which is a blend of terylene and cotton, same as terry silk mixed with terylene and silk, and terry wool, which is the combination of terylene and wool. Now we will study about natural fibers obtained from plants. So let's take cotton first. Okay, students, cotton is a soft fiber that grows around the seeds of the cotton plant. The cotton plants are usually grown in black soil in warm climate. In a country, cotton is cultivated in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. You know, cotton seeds are planted in the early spring in a well prepared field. The fruits of the cotton plant are called cotton balls. And the cotton balls grow slowly and small seeds and cotton fibers develop. Now the cotton balls burst open when ripe and the seeds covered with cotton fibers can be seen. Now it is the time of harvesting and cotton balls are then picked either manually or with machines. Now what are the uses of cotton? You know, cotton fibers are used for manufacturing clothes and linen. For example, socks, t-shirts, bed sheets, towels, etc. They are generally made from cotton. Cotton is also blended with other fibers to make mixed fibers like terracotta, and it also used in medical procedures to absorb blood and pus from the wounds. Now let's see how fibers get converted into clothes we wear. So students, the cotton fibers are separated from their seeds by the process called ginning. You know, it was traditionally done by hands using steel combs. But nowadays, a machine called roller gin is used for ginning. A roller gin has steel pins fixed on two rollers which act as combs. Now, when cotton is passed through a gin, the seeds are combed out and then they get collected in a separate vessel. When ginning is completed, the ginned cotton is pressed into bundles, which we call bales, and then these bales are transported to factories. Now, the fibers obtained from plants and animals are converted into yarn, and this process of changing fibers into yarn is called spinning. Now, in this, short fibers are draws out from the cotton wool and twists them together into a long continuous thread which we call yarn. Now on small scale, spinning is done by hand spindle or thakli and charkha, and on large scale, it is done on spinning machines. Now we have to convert yarn into fabric. And for this, we arrange two sets of yarns together to make a fabric. And it is done on loom. Now, weavers weaving on a small scale use hand looms, while on a large scale, weavers use power looms. Now, in knitting, a single yarn is used to make a piece of fabric. Knitting can be done by hands using knitting needles, and nowadays, most of the knitting is done with the help of machines. Now, the next plant fiber is jute. Jute is a long, soft, shiny plant fiber which we obtained from the stems of the jute plant. It is also called golden fiber. Jute fiber is durable, strong, and biodegradable. In our country, jute is cultivated in West Bengal, Assam, in Bihar, and also in the low-lying areas around the river Ganga and river Brahmaputra. Jute needs a plain alluvial soil and standing water. Jute is a rainy season crop and the plants are cut during the flowering stage. This is because good quality jute is obtained from its young stem. Otherwise, what happens? The stem becomes very hard and it is difficult to remove fibers from it. After harvesting, the stalks of the plants are tied into bundles and left in stagnant water for about 20 days. And this process is called retting. When the stems rot, the fibers are separated by hands and this process is called stripping. Now the fibers obtained are dried in the sun and tied into small bundles, and then these bundles are sent to the mills. Now these bundles then spun and woven into textile at the mills. So as I told you, jute fibers are very strong. They are used to make gunny bags and shopping bags. They are also woven into curtains, carpets, chair covering, table mats, etc. Now let us study about natural fibers which we get from animals like wool and silk. Now in wool, it is obtained from the fleece of sheep, goat, rabbit, yak and camel. And removing of fleece from sheep is called shearing. After shearing, the wool is cleaned and then combed by a machine. After that, the wool is spun into fibers which are then knitted to make woolen clothes either by hand or by machines. Now in silk was first developed in China. And in silk, we get silk from silkworm. Rearing of silkworm for the production of silk is called sericulture. The larva of silk moth secretes a sticky fluid which becomes silk fiber. The larva then covers its body with silk fiber and turns into pupa. And this protecting covering is called cocoon. And further, these cocoons are boiled in water to get silk fiber. Let us study the history of clothing material. The early humans did not know much about clothes. They used the bark of trees and large leaves to cover themselves. They wore animal skins and wrapped fur around their bodies to keep themselves warm during winters. After people began to settle in agricultural communities, they learned to weave twigs and grass into mats and baskets. Later, humans developed the technique for spinning and weaving clothes from the fluffy substance of the cotton plant. In ancient Egypt, Cotton and flax plants were cultivated near the river Nile and were used for making fabrics. In India also, the use of cotton spread around 3000 before Christ. And as earlier I told you, China also domesticate silkworms to produce silk fibers. But in those days, stitching was not known. Women used to wear sari and men used to wear dhoti. These clothes were not stitched, they were just wrapped around the body. Even today, sari, dhoti, lungi, these all are used as unstitched clothes. With the invention of the sewing needle, people started stitching fabric to make clothes. Now, with the wrapping of this chapter, I hope all of you are able to understand various types of fibers in the process of making fabric from fibers.